everyone. Welcome back to After Dark. This is your host, Laura B. This week we continue with the next to last episode of the Caylee Anthony series. Last week we went over what went on during the 31 days that no one had seen Caylee. We ended with Cindy finally getting tired of Casey's shit and dragging her ass home. She had found her at her boyfriend's with the help of Casey's friend, Amy Huizinga. Amy also got hit with the reality that her best friend Casey was really a thieving snake and had wiped her bank account clean while she was on vacation in Puerto Rico. We are still on the evening of July 15th, 2008. Cindy has Casey in the car and she makes the first 911 call. I'm going to play it for you now.
You recorded? Thank you. Hello.
Hi, I drove to the police department here on Pershing, but you guys are closed. I need to bring someone into the police department. Can you tell me where the closest one I can come into?
What are you trying to accomplish by bringing them to the station?
I have a 22-year-old person that has grand theft sitting in my auto with me.
So the 22-year-old person stole something?
Yes.
Is this a relative?
Yes.
Where did they steal it from?
My car and also money.
Okay, is this your son?
Daughter.
Okay, so your daughter stole money from your car?
No, my car was stolen. We retrieved it today. We found out where it was at. We retrieved it. I've got that, and I've got affidavit for my banking account. I want to bring her in. I want to press charges.
Where did all of this happen?
Oh, it's been happening.
No, but I need to establish a jurisdiction is what I'm trying to do.
I lived in Orlando.
Yeah, but what address did these thefts occur at?
Well, I guess my residence, I guess.
Okay. That's actually going to be in the jurisdiction of the sheriff's office, ma'am, not the Orlando Police Department.
All righty.
Let me transfer you over to the communications section for Orange County.
Okay. Now, is the Orlando Sheriff's Department the one on 436, is that open this evening?
The substation you're at on Pershing, if it's Orlando Police, we're open primarily during the day.
Uh-huh.
But that's not the sheriff. That's the city police, which does not have jurisdiction for your
And then there's the sheriff's department on 436.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer you to the sheriff's communications section, and you can determine that. Hold on.
Okay. Because my next thing will be down the child thing, and we'll have a court order together. If that's what you want to play, we'll do it. You'll never. Well, then you have. No, I'm not giving you another day. I've given you a month. All right.
After this call, they tell her to either pull over to the side of the road or go back to the house. Cindy said she didn't want to do it on the side of the road, so she drove Casey back to the Anthony home. As she was pulling into the subdivision, she got a call from her son, Lee. George had told him he needed to come to the house, but didn't tell him why. Cindy said she would fill him in when they got into the house. Lee was waiting in the driveway when Cindy pulled up. Casey jumped out of the car and ran into the house. Lee followed her with Cindy behind him. At this time, George is still at work, so he's missing all the excitement. Cindy fills Lee in on what's going on. He says to let him try to talk to Casey before they call the police again. He went to Casey's bedroom. Casey still stuck to her story, though. She said Caylee was at Zanny's and she wasn't going to interrupt her sleep to prove to her family that she was okay. Lee said he was confused about why she couldn't come home. He even offered to go pick her up. Casey's reply was, quote, because maybe I'm a spiteful bitch, end quote. Casey was playing it off like she was just trying to get back at Cindy. She complained to Lee about how she was treated and said that Cindy had called her an unfit mother. Casey told Lee, quote, maybe I am. I guess if the shoe fits. Cindy had been in the hallway listening to Casey and Lee talk. She knew Casey was not going to give them the answers they wanted, so she went to a different room and called 911 for a second time. I will play that call for you now.
911, what's the address? What's happening? I have someone here that I need to be arrested in my home. They're there right now? A possible missing child. I have a 3-year-old that's been missing for a month. A 3-year-old? Yes. Have you reported that? I'm trying to do that now, ma'am. Okay, what did the person do that you need arrested? My daughter. For what? For stealing an auto and stealing money. I already spoke with someone. They said they would patch me through the Orlando Sheriff's Department and have a deputy here. I was in the car. I was going to drive her to the police station, and no one's open. They said they would bring a deputy to my home when I got home to call them. So she stole your vehicle? Yes. When did she do that? On the 30th. I just got it back from the impound. I'd like to speak to an officer. Can you have someone come out to my house? Okay. Okay, I gotta ask you these questions so I can put them in the call, okay? Okay. 30th of June? Yes. Okay, how old is your daughter? 22. Okay, what's her name? My name? Her name. Her name? And you said you have the vehicle back? Yes. That has the statement. She's there right now? Yes, I got it. I finally found her after a month. She's been missing for a month. I found her, but we can't find my granddaughter. 5'1.5". Thin, medium, or heavy build? Thin. Color hair? Brown. What color shirt is she wearing? White. What color pants? Oh, they're shorts. They're plaid. They're like pink and teal and white and black plaid. Does she have any weapons on her? No. Is she not telling you where her daughter is? Correct. Okay, we'll have a deputy out to you as soon as one's available, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
While Cindy was on the phone with 911, Lee was still trying to get the truth out of Casey. She finally tells him that she has not seen Caylee for 31 days. She tells him that she had been kidnapped by a woman Casey hired to be her nanny, named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. Casey told Lee the last time she saw Caylee was at Zanny's apartment on June 9th, between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. She said she had been conducting her own investigation. Apparently, one of her fake jobs must have been a private investigator. Casey was a busy girl. She said she had slept in her car outside of the apartment complex for a while. She had been going to all the bars and clubs because Zanny was known to hang out in those places. She said she just earlier that same day had gotten a call from an unlisted number, and when she answered it, she heard Caylee's voice, so she knew she was okay. However, when she told her to put an adult on the phone, the call was cut off. You can tell Casey is making this up as she goes. She is way off on the date. We know Caylee was still around on the 15th because that was Father's Day and the day Cindy took her to the nursing home to see her great-grandfather. George had seen Caylee the day after that on the 16th. How do you not know the last time you saw your child? Casey also told Lee about Jeff Hopkins and how they had been seeing each other and that he had introduced her to Zanny. Lee fills his mom in on what Casey had told him about Caylee, and she makes her third call to 911. I will play it for you now.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff saying I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. Her mother finally admitted that she's been missing. Okay, what is here now? Okay, what is the address that you're calling from? We're talking about a 3-year-old little girl. My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her. Your daughter admitted that the baby is where? That the babysitter took her months ago that my daughter's been looking for. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. She just admitted to me that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car. Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name? Caylee. Caylee Anthony. Caylee Anthony? Yes. Okay, is she white, black, or Hispanic? She's white. How long has she been missing for? I have not seen her since the 7th of June. What is her date of birth? 8/9/2000. Oh God, she's 3. She's 2005. So it's Karen's missing. Karen's missing. Casey says Danny took her a month ago. She's been missing for a month. Okay, I understand. Can you calm down for me for just a minute and I need to know what's going on, okay? I'm gonna try and tell. Is your daughter there? I'm on the phone with them. Is your daughter there? Yes. Can I speak with her? Do you mind if I speak with her? Thank you. I called them 2 hours ago. They haven't gotten here. Can you see? Finally admitted to Danny took her a month ago. Ma'am. Okay, they want to talk to you. Answer the question. Hello? Yes. Hi. Well, can you tell me what's going on a little bit? I'm sorry? Can you tell me a little bit what's going on? My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days. And you know who has her? I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today, now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute. Okay, did you guys call and report a vehicle stolen? Yes, my mom did. Yep. Okay, so there's been a vehicle stolen too? No, this was my vehicle. What vehicle was stolen? It's a 98 Pontiac Sunfire. Okay, I have deputies on the way to you right now for that. But now your 3-year-old daughter is missing. Caylee Anthony. Yes. White female. Anthony. Yes, white female. 3 years old. 8/9/2005 is her date of birth. Yes. And you last saw her a month ago. 31 days. From 31 days. Who has her? Do you have a name? Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. Who is that? Babysitter? She's been my nanny for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago? I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid. Okay. Can you give me the name of the nanny again? Like, spell it out for me? Zenaida, Zenaida. Last name? Fernandez. Hyphen Gonzalez. I think the officers are here. The officers are there? Yes. Okay, hold on a second. Don't hang up with me yet. I need you. Okay.
Well, first of all, Cindy got the date wrong also. She said she hadn't seen Caylee since the 7th of June. How does no one in this family remember the last time they saw this little girl? And listen to how upset Cindy is about Caylee being missing. She is frantic. Casey, however, gets on the phone and is calm as can be. She actually acts like she is being bothered because they want to talk to her. She actually says, "I have nothing to say to them," when Cindy tells her the dispatcher wanted to talk to her. This girl has some nerve. Around this time, George walks in and Cindy fills him in on what is going on. Not only does no one know the last time they seen Caylee, but George and Cindy both are buying Casey's story of how she's been searching for her for the last month. Unbelievable. In the meantime, Lee was doing some investigating of his own. He knew Jeff Hopkins from school, so he decided to give him a call. Lee found out that everything Casey had told him about her and Jeff was a lie. Big shocker there. Jeff said he was an acquaintance of Casey's. They had never dated or gone on trips together. In fact, they weren't friends at all, and he hadn't seen her for years. His mother had not gotten married recently. She didn't have cancer, and he didn't have a son. He never introduced Casey to anyone named Zenaida. After talking to Jeff, Lee went over to Tony's apartment and picked up Casey's laptop and book bag she had left. He was going to do whatever he could to figure out what was going on. He tried to get on Casey's laptop to see if he could find any information on there, but the laptop had been wiped clean. Everything before the 16th was gone. The police showed up at the Anthony's house, and while they were talking to Cindy, Casey was texting Tony. She was telling him that Caylee had been missing. He asked her why she hadn't told him before, and she said, quote, "I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I love you. I need you." End quote. Then what she says next is just mind-blowing. She says, quote, "I'm the worst person in the world. If they don't find her, guess who gets blamed and spends an eternity in jail?" End quote. What? Of course you are to blame. You're her mother. The audacity of this narcissistic bitch. She's not crying or upset that she doesn't know where her daughter is. She's worried about how she will be punished if she isn't found. Does she even think about what she sounds like? Or does she even care at all? Casey had an interview with lead detective Yuri Melik around 4 a.m. on July 16th. He told her that her sworn statement sounded suspicious to him. She said, quote, "That's the truth, and I'm sticking with it," end quote. Here is a part of Casey's sworn statement. "For the past 4 weeks since Caylee's disappearance, I have stayed at Anthony's apartment in Sutton Place. I have spent every day since June 9th, 2008, looking for my daughter. I have lied and stolen from friends and family to do whatever I could by any means to find my daughter. I avoided calling the police or even notifying my own family out of fear. I have been and still am afraid of what has or may happen to Caylee. I have not had any contact with Zenaida since Thursday, June 12, 2008. I received a quick call from Zenaida. Not once have I been able to ask for my daughter or gain any information on where I can find her. Every day I have gone to malls, parks, and any place I could remember Zenaida taking Caylee. I have gone out and tried to find any information about Caylee or Zenaida, whether by going to a popular bar or restaurant. I have contacted Jeff Hopkins on several occasions to see if he had heard from or seen Zenaida. On Tuesday, July 15th, 2008, around 12 p.m., I received a phone call from my daughter, Caylee." Here is what Detective Urich wrote in his report after conducting his interview with Casey. Quote, "On June 9th, between 900 hours and 1300 hours, Caylee Anthony left with her daughter, Caylee Anthony, to go to work at Universal Studios. While en route, she said she stopped by 2863 South Conway Road, Orlando, Florida, and met with Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, who babysits Caylee. She left Caylee with Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez at that building at the stairwell that leads to apartment 210. She says she has known Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez for 4 years, and Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez has babysat Caylee for the past year and a half. When Caylee Anthony left work around 1700 hours and came to pick up Caylee, She said she got no answer at the door. She tried calling Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez's cell phone and got no answer. She started going to places that Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez was known to frequent, but didn't locate her or her child. Caylee Anthony said she was pacing and worrying and went to her boyfriend's house where she felt safe. Her boyfriend is Anthony Lazaro. Since June 9th, Caylee said she has done her own investigation in trying to find her daughter. She claims she has gone to clubs Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez was known to frequent in hopes of seeing her or her daughter. She never called the police to report her child's disappearance. Caylee Anthony said she had seen movies and reports of missing people getting hurt if the police got involved. Caylee Anthony only called tonight after her mother confronted her with the whereabouts of the child and her version of events. Caylee Anthony said she had told 2 people about her missing child. Both were co-workers at Universal Studios. One was Jeffrey Hopkins and the other was Juliette Lewis. She said they could confirm her story, end quote. After getting her initial statement of events, Detective Yuri Melik had Casey ride with him in an unmarked car and had her take him to where she says she dropped off Caylee on the 9th. Here's what Detective Yuri wrote in his report about that. Quote, "She rode with me in my unmarked car to meet with a marked unit and another deputy sheriff to attempt contact at one of these locations. We first went to the corner of Glenwood and Robinson where she pointed out a building on the northwest corner. She pointed out a second-floor window and said Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez had lived in that apartment from early 2006 to mid-2006, when she moved into another house owned by Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez's mother, Gloria. The building she pointed out was later identified as 301 North Hillside Drive, a senior-only facility. Casey said the apartments were 3 stories and the window above Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez's belonged to Zenaida's roommate. As a note, the initial responding deputies found a handwritten note with the address of 232 Glenwood in Caylee Anthony's car prior to my arrival. This address was direct across from the building she just pointed out to me." End quote. We will later find out that this had been Jesse Grunn's address at one time. And here is some more of the report from Yuri Melik. Quote, "We then went to 2863 South Conway Road, number 210, to confirm this was the same apartment she showed deputies earlier that night and where she had left the child on June 9th. Caylee Anthony confirmed that was the apartment. We then went to the crossings at Conway Townhome Community near Michigan Avenue and South Conway Road. This is where Zenaida's mother allegedly owned a condo and where she claims she dropped her child off several times between mid-2006 to early 2007. We rode through the complex down every street, and the defendant said she couldn't remember what the address was. We knocked at 3 different addresses, making contact with 3 different tenants, all of which did not know Zenaida or her mother Gloria. The defendant said she didn't remember the house because she stopped paying attention to it since she came so many times." End quote. After this, they dropped Caylee back off at home and told her they would call if they needed anything. Before they left, George came up to them and told them he was concerned that Caylee was holding back information. He said he and Cindy were afraid something might have happened to Caylee. After this, Melik took a trip back to the Sawgrass Apartments and met with the manager and the maintenance man. He showed them a photo of Caylee, but they said they didn't recognize her. Neither had ever heard of Zenaida before either. They also confirmed the apartment Caylee had mentioned had been vacant for the last 142 days. They let Detective Millick inside the apartment so that he could see for himself it was vacant. They ran names through their system and found that a Zenaida Gonzalez did come and check out an apartment on April 17th, but she was never a tenant. They gave him a guest card that Zenaida had filled out that included her phone number. Millick then went to Universal Studios and met with the assistant manager of loss prevention, Leonard Tutora. He checked Universal's database and said that Casey was fired from there on April 24th, 2006, and that she was not currently employed at Universal Studios. He ran several other names that Millick had provided him with. The first was Jeffrey Hopkins. He had worked for Universal Studios but was fired on May 13th, 2002. The next was Juliette Lewis. She was not found to be current or former employee of Universal Studios. And the third was Zenaida Gonzalez, who was also not found to be a current or former employee of Universal Studios. I'm going to read from the police report what happened next. This was written by Detective Yuri Millick, the lead investigator on the case. Quote, while speaking with Leonard, I called Caylee Anthony on my cell phone and put my phone speaker on so all could hear. Caylee Anthony confirmed that she did currently work for Universal as an event coordinator. She gave me her office extension, which was 407-224-1000, extension 104. Leonard said this was not a valid extension and even tried calling it. She said her direct supervisor was Tom Manley. They have no Tom Manley employed there. The head of events department is Tom Madison. Leonard called him and confirmed they did not have Caylee Anthony listed as an employee, either past or present. I asked Caylee Anthony where her office was. She claimed to have her own office, and she couldn't give me the building number or location. When asked if she had her current work ID, she said she didn't know where it was. I asked Sergeant Allen to see if he could arrange to have someone to go back to the Hope Spring address and meet with Caylee Anthony to see if she would agree to come to Universal Studios. At 12:30, Sergeant Allen and Detective Wells went to the Hope Spring address and met with Caylee Anthony, who agreed to accompany them back to Universal Studios. Leonard Tulora agreed to assist us with this. Once at Universal Studios, I met with Caylee Anthony, Sergeant John Allen, and Detective Wells at the employees' entrance. Leonard Tulora was also present. Caylee Anthony, who didn't have her ID, explained to the security officer that she was a current employee and had lost her ID. When the security guard asked who her supervisor was, she told him it was Tom Manley. When told no Tom Manley worked there, she had no answer. Tulora agreed to escort Caylee Anthony where she said she worked. We followed her into a building nearby and down the building's inner hall. She walked with purpose and acted like she knew where she was going. Halfway down this hall, she stopped, turned, and told us that she hadn't told us the truth and she was not a current employee. Surprise, surprise. At this time, we found a small conference room in which to talk to Caylee Anthony. This conversation was also recorded. Prior to beginning the interview, we stressed that the door was unlocked and were in the room for privacy only. She understood and agreed to speak with us on tape. Caylee Anthony was confronted with all of the inconsistencies in her story and the fact that I had proven she lied on almost everything she had told me. She admitted she had lied to me about the apartment at 301 North Hillside being one of Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez's. She admitted her ex-boyfriend Ricardo Morales lived across from this residence. And though she had stayed there since the child had went missing, she never mentioned this address or name to us. She admitted she lied about being employed with Universal Studios, claiming she thought that they may happen to find out if her child Caylee or Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez had visited Universal Studios since June 9th. She admitted that she should have called the police the day the child went missing, and in not doing so, she failed to provide the victim with the care, supervision, and services necessary to maintain the child's physical or mental health. The defendant still maintained that the last she saw of her daughter was with Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez on June 9, 2008, at the South Conway address. It should be noted that at no time during any of the above interviews did Caylee Anthony show any obvious emotion as to the loss of her child. She did not cry or give any indication that she was legitimately worried about her child's safety. She remained stoic and monotone during a majority of our contacts. While Casey was with Detective Wells, I called the Zenaida Gonzalez I identified from the Sawgrass Apartments. She was open and responsive, and when asked, denied knowing Casey, Caylee, or babysitting for anyone at all. She agreed to meet with an investigator to give a sworn statement. Once back in the Universal Studios parking lot, Sergeant Allen pulled up all the Zenaida Gonzalez's in our David system. Caylee Anthony could not identify any of them. I had him pull up the photo of the Zenaida I had just spoke with, and Caylee Anthony said she did not recognize her. In the course of this investigation, I received telephone calls from several persons who knew Caylee Anthony. All of the callers claim she is a habitual liar and she has been known to steal from friends in the past. The following is a synopsis of what each individual told me and later gave sworn statements about. Amy Huizinga is the person who told Caylee Anthony's mother where she could be found on the evening of the 15th. She claims that Caylee Anthony picked her up at the airport around 14:30 hours on July 15th in her, Amy's, car. Amy had loaned Caylee Anthony her car for the week she was gone. Amy claims Caylee Anthony stole some checks and approximately $700 from her. Amy lives with Ricardo Morales at Redacted. She can't recall the last time she saw Caylee. Anthony Lazaro called claiming he first learned of Caylee's disappearance by deputies coming to his house early this morning and inquiring about it. He claims he met Caylee Anthony in May and had been dating her since June. He claims he last saw Caylee on or about June 2nd, 2008, while at the pool in his complex. He had not seen Caylee since. He has never met Zenaida nor knows where she lives. It was he who contacted Amy Huizinga and had her contact me regarding this case. Anthony said while Caylee Anthony lived with him since June 9th, she mentioned several times that Caylee was with the nanny at Disney, Universal Studios, or the beach. She never gave him any indication that the child was endangered or missing. Jesse Grund is a friend of Caylee Anthony's. Caylee Anthony's mother mentioned him as the person who took Caylee Anthony to a hospital earlier this year for a seizure. He called me before I could call him. He mentioned that Caylee Anthony is a habitual liar. He told me that on June 25th, he received a call from Caylee Anthony, who was trying to cheer him up over a recent job loss. She told him she was free this weekend if he wanted to get together. They used to date. She said that Caylee was with the nanny and they had gone to the beach for the weekend. After learning of this incident, he immediately called me to let me know this and how it contradicted with what Caylee Anthony had been telling everyone. Christine Chester, a friend of Caylee Anthony's, called after seeing the missing persons story about Caylee on the news. She claims to be Caylee Anthony's best friend. She also said Caylee Anthony and Caylee had been to her house and had all gone for a walk on either June 12th, 13th, or 14th. She's sure of this date. She said she was surprised to hear of the child missing. Investigator Caylee Guzman then later obtained a sworn written statement from Christine regarding this. Once at our Central Operations Center, and after I started to receive the above phone calls referencing Caylee Anthony and her child, Caylee Anthony was given one more opportunity to change her story. She did not, so she was then placed under arrest for child neglect. So we will end here with Caylee being placed under arrest for neglect and obstructing an investigation. Next week, we will go over all the evidence found, Caylee being found, and Caylee's trial. If you would like to recommend a case for me to cover, you can message me on After Dark's Facebook page or on Instagram. Until next time, take care and stay safe.